When Captain Edward Jellico took command of the USS Enterprise D in the Star Trek, the Next Generation two-parter chain of command, he instantly became one of the most divisive figures in the series. With his rigid style, love of protocol, and complete disregard for the crew's established rhythms, Jellico wasn't just a change of pace. He was a shock to the system. Officers like Riker, Troy, and even Geordi chafed under his leadership, and many fans walked away disliking him as much as the crew did. But here's the thing I've never quite understood. Why didn't Jean-Luc Picard hate him? After all, Captain Picard is a man of culture, diplomacy, and empathy. He values personal connection and subtle leadership. Jellico, on the other hand, steamrolled into the Enterprise barking orders, demanding 4-shift rotations, reassigning duties, and commanding respect before earning it. He even made Troy wear a standard uniform, as if she'd been playing dress-up for 5 seasons. From almost every angle, Jellico seemed like the exact opposite of Picard. And yet, when the dust settled, Picard showed no resentment. No frustration. Not even a subtle jab at Jellico's abrasive methods. In fact, Picard respected him. And maybe, just maybe, there's a reason why. Jellico was a war captain in peacetime clothes. It's easy to forget the context of Jellico's arrival. Starfleet was on the brink of war with the Cardassians. Picard was pulled for a secret mission, and Starfleet needed someone with experience and command presence to stand up to a hostile adversary. Enter Jellico, an officer who had already dealt with the Cardassians and didn't have time for tea ceremonies or Shakespearean musings. He wasn't trying to win friends. He was trying to win a standoff. Picard would have understood that. In fact, Picard might have admired the fact that Jellico wasn't concerned with being liked. Where Picard had the benefit of years building relationships and trust with his crew, Jellico had to assume command instantly, inspire discipline, and prepare the ship for potential conflict. In those circumstances, diplomacy comes later, if at all. Picard, who once took command of the Stargazer during a crisis and who frequently lectures young officers on duty over comfort, likely saw Jellico as exactly what was needed, even if he rubbed everyone the wrong way. Jellico held the line while Picard was tortured. While the crew was fuming over changes to shift rotations and chain of command, Picard was being brutalized by the Cardassians. In that torture chamber, facing the infamous "there are 4 lights" ordeal, Picard had no idea whether he would live or die. The only person standing between him and oblivion was Jellico. And Jellico delivered. In fact, it was Jellico's unorthodox tactics and bold bluffing that forced Gul-Lemek to back down and release Picard. The moment Jellico planted mines around the Cardassian fleet and stared down Lemek in the most badass negotiation since Kirk talked a computer into self-destruction, he proved that he wasn't just a by-the-book officer, he was a tactician, a warrior, and a man of principle. Picard, who values intellect, courage, and composure under pressure, would have seen that act as not just competent, but heroic. Picard would recognize the burden of command. If anyone in Starfleet understands how lonely command can be, it's Jean-Luc Picard. He knows what it means to make unpopular decisions, to prioritize duty over camaraderie, to enforce discipline at the cost of personal warmth. Though Picard leads with a velvet glove, there's iron underneath, and he knows that sometimes the glove has to come off. Jellico led with the iron fist from the start. But his decisions were never selfish or petty. They were strategic. He wasn't trying to dismantle the culture of the Enterprise out of spite. He was trying to get the ship combat ready. That kind of single-minded focus, even if it bruised egos, served the greater good. Picard may not have agreed with Jellico's style, but he undoubtedly respected his results. A mirror, but not an opposite. What makes Jellico fascinating is that he isn't Picard's opposite. He's his reflection in harsher light. He's what Picard could have become in a different context, a wartime captain with no time for diplomacy. The core values are the same: honor, courage, responsibility. But the expression of those values changes depending on the pressure. Jellico wasn't a villain. He wasn't even a bad leader. He was simply what Starfleet needed at a specific moment in history. Maybe the crew hated him, but he earned his place. Yes, the crew hated Jellico. Riker clashed with him so hard it bordered on insubordination. Troy was humiliated by his uniform demand. Even Data, the ever diplomatic and